Welcome to the show, AfterBuzzers. This is it for Turned Up Charlie. We are recapping episodes 7 and 8, and Charlie needs an ego check. David shows up in episode 8, and the family is in shambles. Stay tuned for all that and more.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
AfterBuzz TV.
I don't know what song that is in my head, but go ahead.
I know, we're making up some stuff right now. But you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode 7 and 8, and it's a lot going on in these 2 episodes.
Yeah, these are packed.
I know. So let's get into your overall thoughts. What do you feel about episode 7?
For episode 7, I feel like it's. I can't talk about 7. I can't talk about 7 without talking about 8. I feel like it just buttons up enough so that if it doesn't get renewed, we're cool. But I think there's still enough open that it could set us up for a season 2. And I think episode 7 really takes us into that. And I loved how it showed us more of what Charlie used to be. But then once he makes that change, it's like, okay, we know where he was, but now what's left for him in the future. So I think episode 7 was a good transition episode.
I definitely agree. Oh, yes. So before we get into that, I just want to let you guys know I'm your host, Miss Conversation. Peace. And thank you so much for tuning in. I have Princess with me.
Hey, guys. I'm happy to be here. It's the finale.
I know. We were so amped to get started that we just forgot to do that. But you guys know who we are, right? You tune in every week. You know us. But what I was going to say about my overall thoughts for episode 7 is, it's a typical drugs, sex,
all the DJ lifestyle.
Yeah,
things.
DJ, hip hop life. And, I think he just let it get the best of him. And then on top of that, he let his ego get to him. And I think he's realizing the importance of relationships. So that is important as much as your talent in the entertainment world, I believe. So
yeah, I feel like this is when we really start to see. I mean, the season we've seen Charlie mature, but I feel like this is like Charlie has fully made that turn.
But I think he did a little backsliding.
I mean, he did, but that was like to propel him forward. Like, he just has to be like, I am not this person anymore. Like,
yeah, what's the saying? You pull an arrow back and then it just flies forward. That's how it works.
I hope so. Into season 2.
Hopefully we get a season 2. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you think it deserves a season 2, if you like it enough, or, if you think it's going to get picked up, just let us know in the comments. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe. So basically the show opens up with Charlie in this, we see the drug
induced Charlie. We see it from his POV.
Yes, it's from his point of view. And I'm like, I've never experienced this because I don't do drugs, guys. I'm really,
Neither, so I'm like, I'm like vicariously through Charlie. And
right.
This is a life.
I've never woken up and had to throw up in a hat. You know what I mean? That was so disgusting.
That was cringeworthy.
It was very cringeworthy, just like the bathroom scene when that house was disgusting. Oh my goodness. Like, what was going on there? I mean, of course, a big rager party, but this is where Charlie's life has ended up. He traveled to one of the hottest cities to vacation.
Yeah, now I want to go there too.
I do too. And party, yeah, but not that hard.
Yeah,
have you ever partied that hard where you woke up and you were just trashed?
No. I mean, to each his own. For me, I'm one of those people where I like to remember everything I did and not have to ask other people. But,
so are you one of those people who have never had a drink or?
No, that's just not, I don't know.
Just know your limit.
I mean, for know your limit, or for me, I don't know.
You've never surpassed your limit?
No, I don't like the taste of alcohol.
So you don't drink?
No, I don't.
Oh. I wish I could say the same. But
me and Gabby are in the same. Me and Gabby would hang out because I love what we'll see in episode 8. But
she's 11. I mean, or however.
But she makes a very active choice. I'll talk about it later. I'll talk about my fandom later.
I know you have a vice princess. I don't know what it is, but you got something that you do. However, myself, I've never had that kind of night, but I've definitely woken up with a hangover and had to throw up.
Oh, Charlie. But I'm happy, like, we got to see more of what Charlie's life used to look like. Because I feel like they alluded to it throughout the season, but it's kind of like, has he really changed? Like, could he be capable of being that person again? And I think we really got to see his heart, like where he was at the very beginning. In terms of like, there are some people where it seems like they've changed, but once they get that fame or whatever it is again, you're like, oh, you haven't changed. And I feel like we got to see Charlie's heart for the first time. And then we got to see
I disagree. I feel like he was being an egotistical asshole.
He was. But I thought that he had changed prior to that.
And the only reason he changed back is because the manager was throwing shade at him about his age. Mm-hmm. He was messing up. He was getting drunk, showing up late. Look at him trying to show up to the meeting. Oh, they know how important I am when I show up late. And the lady was not having it. She checked him right there.
Yes.
She brought him back down to earth.
Yes.
And she fired him. So he was not changing for the better.
But he did change. He finally fessed up to his parents, which I was waiting for. He had to humble himself, and he had to become, he had to put on his big boy pants and be like, either I'm going to go home and have to face the music, or I can be proactive about my future and do what I got to do to make things right. And I was so proud of him.
Well, I don't know. He gets into a fight with his one and only supporter. We don't even see him after that. Like, he just picks up and leaves. And I want to get into that. Like, someone that has your back like that, like, how do you go from that to, like, down talking them and kicking them out of your corner? Because he was not doing anything bad. He was just telling him, why are you turning down gigs? And Charlie was like, oh, you don't believe in me? You want me to be second best to this girl? And that was the ego talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think that prior to Charlie's turn later in the episode, I think he was operating in the old Charlie mode. Like, I'm number one. How dare I, sit under this woman who's younger than me, this woman who doesn't know about true DJing, whatever that means. I mean, I get it, because I think that was his brokenness talking at that point. But we do see him come around later and humble himself and be like, you know what, I'm going to do whatever.
No, they humbled him for him.
But he didn't have to change. He could have just sat there and sulked, and he didn't. Like, he got himself together.
Either he was going to change or have to go home and stay with Auntie again. Auntie Lydia.
Some people don't change. You don't have to. You always get a choice, and I'm proud of him for making that choice.
Well, it did change, but he did think he was too good for certain things. He was riding off of this one single, and but at the end of the day, there's singles like those hot summer songs that do last the whole summer. So the summer wasn't even over yet. So I guess it was one of those things where it was just played so much that people were tired of it, and we were expecting something else. We need a follow-up single, and he didn't have it.
Well, I love that the bar manager challenged, or whoever she was, promoter, I don't know what she was, challenged him like, okay, great, you have this great single. Now what? Like, we want to hear something fresh, something new. And I think that was another pivotal moment. In the immediate moment, he was childish, but I think it pushed him no, you can't continue to ride on the success of your former singles. Like, you're going to have to be creative. You're going to have to commit to this, buckle down, create new music, and be a professional. So that was another part that I think was really pivotal as well. Exactly,
because he came to the meeting late and unprepared. He didn't even have a playlist. She was like, what's your music rundown? And he just was, I don't know what he thought. What do you think he was thinking coming into this meeting? Because he couldn't have thought he was big time and on this DJ Tommy's level.
I think that he was just walking in his previous immaturity, being that party guy anymore. And I think something had to wake him up and realize, oh no, again, like you said, something had to humble him and remind him, just as quick as you got it, you can also lose it. And I think that's something that once you have experienced it, it's oh, wait a minute, I got to change. I got to grow up or continue to sit here and sulk. And
have you ever had a moment like that where you were progressing and you just kind of made a mistake and then you had to learn from it or didn't learn from it, and that opportunity got taken away from you?
Yeah. I think for me, it it exposes like what still needs to be worked on. Like, okay, the fact that this happened again, it shows me there's something there. There's something I've got to admit. And I think with Charlie, part of it, there's so many that he had to, so many things he had to admit. But I think part of it was his ego and his humility. And I think that's the key is like, are you still hiding from the truth about yourself, or are you willing to sit down and say, you know what, this has to die?
You think he's hiding from the truth that he's old and washed up? Or or do you feel like he can make a resurgence and the age doesn't matter?
I think he can. I think he just had to humble himself. And once he finally realized, like, wait a minute, like, the world doesn't revolve around you. Like, the world doesn't stop because you tell it to stop. I think that's when he was able to face his humility, like,
but
monster.
I feel like a lot of people who are entertainers aren't humble. They are arrogant. They are, like that.
Right.
So why do you feel like Charlie has to?
I that's just the way that his life is starting to shake up. Like, at the end of the day, he's trying to get back on his feet, and he can't get back on his feet with the same attitude he had before. Some people may not have to go through that struggle, but for him, if he wants to be where he wants to be, obviously he might have to bite the bullet a couple times.
Yeah, and another person who humbled him was DJ Tommy and her bodyguards. He shows up and they get ready to throw him out. Like, he breaks past them to get a conversation with her, and she shuts him down, and then he gets thrown out. Then he's in prison, and it's like he gets punched in the face. Yeah, that was humbling for sure. And the jail, like, come on now. I think that's what made him just. He was at a breaking point where I got to tell my parents the truth, because they probably, who bailed him out? Because if you're in jail in a whole other country,
a plot hole. There was a couple plot holes for me. I was like, how did this happen? And happen so quickly.
And it was confusing because it was like a flashback. Then it was like, are you in jail or not in jail? Like, right. I was confused at that point.
Yeah, I was also like, okay, plot hole.
And another thing I was confused about is, how do you get punched in the face and then go to jail? Because he didn't even punch them back. So why did he go to jail?
Well, I think he went to jail because he was being a nuisance, like maybe like a public disturbance. I don't know what the laws in IBs are, but it could have been one of those situations.
You guys, don't go on vacation turning up like Charlie, okay?
Maybe DJ Tommy pressed charges. I don't know.
She didn't do nothing. He just wanted to talk to her.
He was there to harass her, essentially. Let's be honest.
So his parents are very disappointed in him. They want him to be a doctor and a lawyer, at least have a backup plan for this. But one thing about Aunt Lydia, even though he told her secret, she still rides for him. She's still telling him, don't give up. And I think that's one of the reasons why when he was headed to the airport, he turned around and was just like, I'm not going to give up. You know, I think that's everyone needs that family member that can, or a mentor or someone they can talk to and just give you that encouragement, because we all go through those moments. It might not be as bad as going to jail or getting kicked out or losing all your friends and all your gigs, but you go through a moment where you break down and you need some encouragement, you know?
Yeah, I love that moment. And as annoying as the auntie can be at times, that you, like you said, you need those people in your corner to tell you, I'm proud of you, I'm happy that you're going after your dream. And I think that was a part of the turning point too, is to know that there is one person that believes in you. Sometimes that's all you need, and I'm glad it was the auntie.
Yeah, but he went on to, why did he even tell her secret though? Like, where did that come from? Like, I feel like, once again, the people who support him, the cousin, the aunt, he's fighting him in the ocean, you know, he's telling her secrets. Like, what? I don't know what Charlie's deal is. Like,
I mean, I think it was just part of him having to, I think in him shedding the lies, he had to just shed all of it. And part of it was like the auntie, you know.
It was, I'm not the only one that's a screw up in this family. That's what I think it was.
I mean, I don't know if it was that vicious. I think it was more, and vicious might even be a strong word, but I'm just going to go with that. I don't know if it was that. I think it was just like, I need to tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And the whole truth is, Aunt Tommy has been taking care of me and blah, 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 blah. Like, I think it was just part of it. He didn't have to go through all of that. But even her response was understanding too. I think she understood.
Yeah, she was probably tired of hiding it herself. Like, why am I trying to put on this face for my brother and sister who, I mean, what do they do? I mean, again, because I think when they introduced, were they like very religious or something, like in a church?
I don't know.
Because I'm trying to figure out why they're so like I know they're the matriarch and patriarch of the family, but why are they so judgmental?
I wish Tehran was here because he kind of had that input, having relatives that are from other nations. I wonder if there's a cultural element, which is something I appreciated about this show in its entirety, just those cultural influences.
Yeah.
So part of it is just like it might just be cultural. Like the people that I know who are of similar backgrounds, they kind of go through some of the same pressures. So I think it's just that. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when he decides that he wants to stay and fight for his dream, he goes back to his friend and he lets him in. He gives him a hard time. But now he has to pay to stay instead of staying for free. So, you finally bump your head and you got these hard lessons. And he's still working, though. He says, I knew you would be back. And they just pick up right where they left off. That's refreshing to see that, he's able to do that. And then Gabby gives him a call. And, he's just rebuilding those relationships. But one thing he did do was when he got on, he kind of just left everybody behind.
What do you mean?
I mean, he left Gabby behind. She was left in LA with the parents and.
Well, she was on summer vacation though, so and I think the mom really wanted to spend time with her too. So another plot hole. It would have been great to have seen that conversation and found out how exactly did this go down, but she didn't seem hurt by it. So I'm guessing
well, she wasn't answering the phone for him. I mean, what was she doing that was so busy? She's not doing anything.
I don't know, unless the parents were arguing and she was just, I have no idea. Another plot hole. But yeah, she didn't seem, when they did FaceTime, it didn't seem like she was too crushed. Like, oh, you're not here. It was more of a, my parents are arguing, I miss you, type of deal. I don't know.
Yeah, so she obviously told her mom and they end up showing up and flying to see him, which was a great surprise. And there he goes lying again when he's on the phone with Gabby. He's telling her, yeah, I'm working, I'm doing this. Oh, I don't know where I'm going to be. And it's like, it's a character flaw within him. Why does he keep having to lie and not tell it? Because I feel like when he did realize his relationships were, monumental in his career, then he kind of started to utilize them. But if he would have, I guess, been honest from the beginning, Sarah could have told him, hey, I got a big gig. You can just open up for me, versus him lying yeah, I got a gig. It's big. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I just feel like, why lie?
Yeah.
To your support system.
He's human. He's still working on it. It's, sometimes progress is not, a straight line up. Sometimes it's a little bumpy. So
yeah, my life's been bumpy lately. Lord.
It's part of being human.
So they show up, like I said, for a great surprise. And then Sarah tells him that Asterisk is going to show up. And he lets her know, oh, it's nothing serious. That was just a fling. But I think it was his ego again being deflated. He's super, he's just arrogant. And then it's just like when you come from a point up high and then you get broken all the way down to staying at your aunt's house. And then I don't know. I don't even know what to make of it.
His defense, Astra was like that too. She didn't want to commit fully either. So I think it might be they're both playing chicken. Who's going to commit first? I don't know. I think he might have been waiting on her. I feel like it's mutual. They're both in the same place when it comes to that.
Well, yeah, I just feel like she was throwing herself at him a little bit. She was. But I don't think it was I don't know, she didn't make it known that she wanted a relationship. She just made it known that she wanted his body. Well, Sarah, she pulled some strings to get Charlie an epic set, but he's thinking that she wants him to be the Manny again. And once they talk it out and she's like, no, I really want you to do this, he turns it down, saying, I can't use you. And this is where I'm confused. she's giving it to you and you're saying, oh, I can't just take it. I got to work for it now. That's confusing to me. Like, what do you want?
He wants to work now?
Yes.
Why is it confusing that he wants to work for what he has now?
Because you have, like, I feel like everything is built on relationships. So if you have a relationship with someone that is the CEO of the company and they're like, oh, I got a job for you, you're going to turn it down like, no, I need to work my way from the bottom. I'm going to be a mailroom clerk. Are you going to do that?
No, I mean, I think the whole Manny / recording time thing made the relationship unnecessarily complicated to me. I feel like I think they needed to have that clarity. Like, listen, like if we're going to work together and be collaborators and let's do the collaboration thing, if I'm going to be the Manny, like, I don't know, sometimes I think you do need to define the terms a little bit and separate yourself. And he needed to focus on his career. And I think she understood.
Yeah, she understood because she encouraged him to get contracts and just to be on his business.
Right.
And I think Sarah's a really good friend. She's offering him opportunities. She's, encouraging him. She's telling him not to give up. And, they're just really family.
And she's really taking her place as Gabby's mom, which is what we really wanted. Now, as for David, he's still getting his life together. But I'm happy that Sarah is putting first things first, especially when Gabby has her, after having had her first period. Like, you need to have your mom there.
I don't know. I don't even want to get into my first period.
Let's not do that. Not today. But I mean, I think that was important for Gabby's mom to come around, and I'm happy for Sarah. David's still David.
You know what? I think that's really the reality for a lot of families. The man is usually out handling business. They're not home a lot. And that's just how it is. But she felt neglected. And that's why she came to LA. And I feel like that's where we get into episode 8, we're about to get into in a minute, how she ran to Charlie to get refuge. And it was kind of a rift when David got there and saw what was going on.
Yes, it was.
So can you give me your aha moment of episode 7?
The aha moment for episode 7, I would say, I think the aha moment was just when we saw David's point of view and what his lifestyle looked like when he was the DJ, like the world famous DJ the first time. For me, it was like, oh, now I understand where he was and like his background. And it's one thing to hear about it, but it's another thing to see what his lifestyle was. And so now that we get to see the other side of it, now it puts it into a different light. Now I understand on a different level because I know where he was.
Right. And just so you at home know what the aha moment is, let us hear it again. There we go. The aha moment is when you really see a character, making a moment where they make a real
Makes you go, aha.
Aha. Is that it? No, I think they just make a real turning point in their character. So that's what I see for Charlie was basically when he was at the airport and he decided to turn around because at some point we all are at a point where we were like, I want to give up. I'm done with this. And when you decide to stay and fight, that's definitely an aha moment. And so that's important.
Cute.
Yeah, that was mine, girl. So that's all for episode 7. These episodes are so short. We're missing the meat of it.
Yes.
Yeah, we're missing the meat and potatoes. So maybe they're going to give it to a season 2. Maybe they're holding back for a season 2. What do you think?
I hope so. That's all I got to say. I hope so.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of questions to have.
I have so many questions. Maybe we could get Idris on the line and get him in here.
Tell us more.
I know. Oh, one thing I did notice, I think this might have been episode 8, when he was running on the beach, he did look good.
He did. And he was sweaty.
Ooh, looking all chocolatey. Well, let's get into episode 8. We'll just get right into it.
Yeah, so before we get into episode 8, we just wanted to say thank you guys for making us the ESPN of TV Talk. And for us to continue to grow, we could really use you guys' help. So if you're on YouTube right now, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. And if you're on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating. But no matter where you are, leave us a comment so you can get involved in the conversation. Being a part of AfterBuzz has meant so much to all of us, and we truly appreciate you supporting us and doing what we love. So don't forget to tell your friends and keep enjoying our show.
Yes, thank you so much for tuning in. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think about Turn Up Charlie. Do we need a season 2? Do you have questions that need answers? Because we do. We want to know what is going to happen with this divorce. We want to know, is Charlie going to blow up past Tommy V? We want to know if he's going to remain humble. You know?
No one knows for sure.
We don't know, but I'm on the edge of my seat. So, episode 8, Astrid is starting to fall for Charlie a little harder than we expected. She's giving him the world. She's giving him what she would give Sarah.
I have many thoughts about that. It's weird because it seems like she wants to be committed to Charlie, but also his manager. I don't know. Now I feel like she's using Charlie.
No, I don't think she's using him. I think she sees that Sarah is on a decline in her career, and that's how people do. They jump ship. Do they see, oh, she wants to be a mom now? I'm out. And also, she's an alpha female, so it's like hard for her to give that submissive woman, to her man type of vibe. And so, the only thing she knows how to do is to give him a boost in his career. And she likes the sex, obviously. So it's just like a win-win. She's going to make money and she's going to get the D.
Yeah, I guess for me, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like into relationships. I'm kind of like, but you're going to use, like, you're going to be his manager, but then still have this relationship with him. What do you want? What are you here for?
So you think mixing business with pleasure, I think it happens more often than not in the entertainment world. I think it's inevitable a lot.
I think it happens more often, but I don't know if I necessarily think it's like healthy. But who knows? Charlie might be able to sustain it. I think the real question is, will she be able to sustain it? I don't know.
I could see them building an empire. She has the connections. He's on the last leg of, like, either you're going to make it now or you're never going to make it because you're like 40. Okay? I mean, there's,
bring that up
I'm just saying. Now, you can't give up on your dreams, but like when you start to get 60, 70, 80, like you can't be a DJ unless you're playing the Isley Brothers, okay?
I mean, you might not get too many more opportunities.
Exactly. Your window of opportunity is closing. So she's giving him those opportunities, and I think they could be a little power couple. They could be touring. I think that's what she sees.
I don't know. I don't trust her.
Oh, you don't?
I do not trust her.
I think she's being very forthcoming. I think even though she didn't tell Sarah first, she's planned on telling her. The only reason that it kind of came off messy is because Gabby overheard, and Gabby, you know how she is.
She did like hide the fact that she was messing with him, and I don't know. And of course, the actress's name is Piper. Sarah, the character. Of course, Sarah did bring that up too, like the fact that she hit it. I don't know.
I mean, if I'm hitting it and we're not serious, I'm not gonna be out here like, yeah, that's my. Like my little thing, my little boo. Like, I'm not going to say anything.
But if they have that type of relationship, like her and Sarah seem to be pretty close. I don't know.
But this is the thing. Oh, let's get into that. When you start telling your girlfriends about how good the D is, then they get curious because I'm starting to think Sarah's a little curious.
I think that I think that it was going to happen with Sarah and him because her husband is not around and he's filling in that role. So I think regardless,
even if
Astrid wasn't there, I think that was going to happen because Idris, Charlie, all the actors, Charlie's filling in for the role that her husband should be, there for.
They said a shoulder to cry on becomes a D to ride on. That's what they said.
I think that's what happened in this situation. It was going to happen whether Astrid was there or not.
But I think even though they kind of crossed the line there when they were partying and she's like, get drunk with me, get high with me. Like, that was okay, so what I want to talk about is how he came to Astrid and told her, like, no, I'm going to be ready for this gig. I'm going to practice. And then all of a sudden, Sarah comes in like, oh, I'm sad. My husband's not here. And David's doing all this stuff. I just need a drink and get high. Let's get high. Mm-hmm. And then he does it. You know, like, where did that come from? Like, I thought you were on a good path.
I don't know. I mean, I think that may have been more of an emotional decision instead of like this reckless party type of guy. Because he's not. I think that was an emotional decision. Like, I don't equate that to him just blowing people off just because he's a party animal. I think it was. But
different. Do you feel like he really likes Astrid? Because towards the end, he's like, I want you, and then he's like, blowing. Because I mean, you know how these dudes are, like. They'll tell you one thing and it's like, yeah, he wants to hit it, but he don't want that commitment and he's kind of that player guy. So he's going to be like, because even when she was like kissing him and telling him, oh, I'm a manager, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. He was just kind of like, are you sure? Are you sure Sarah's not going to be mad? Like he was concerned about Sarah.
I think it could go either way. I think he has a lot of, Sarah is really his friend. And even when she talked about like him taking up for David. So I think it could be he does have a thing for Sarah, or he really just has a heart and a love for that family. And I think I'd like to hope that he just has a heart for the family, but I could also see him having a thing for Sarah. But I respect the fact that he didn't make a move when he could have, and that's what makes me think it's not quite the lust. I think it's he really has a heart for them, because he could have taken advantage of that situation. She was sitting there in a bikini, but he didn't. So that's why.
That's true. Yeah. I agree. So he's been noble in some aspects. It's kind of like that for Charlie and his character. It's like one moment he's like, oh, I'm going to be good and I'm not going to do that. Then it's 1 minute he's like, he's a struggle. He's struggling with this. Like, and I think that's what's been bringing him down from the very beginning of like why his career kind of made a downward spiral because of this struggle. And he's still going through it.
He is, but I think he's getting better slowly but surely. I think he's coming to realizations faster, it seems like. So I think this next rise that we hope he's going on, we won't know until or unless there's a season 2. I think it'll be different for him because I think he realizes, especially having seen the effect that David being gone all the time affects Gabby. Like, I think he has a different understanding of the world and of relationships and of people. And of, you know, his own humility. So I think it'll be different for him this time. He won't be perfect, but I think it'll be different.
Now, do you feel like even if we say this whole interaction party scene with him and Sarah, do we feel like that was inappropriate due to the relationship that she's married, he's friends with her husband? Mm-hmm. Was it inappropriate for him to even party with her like that?
I think so. I think it would have been one thing if they had like a couple friends and then he was like, you know, I'm going to support her. But just the fact that it was those two, I think it was a poor decision. Like I said earlier, I respect the fact he didn't take advantage of her fully, but I do think he could have made a better decision, especially given the fact that he's preparing for this gig. But also in terms of his relationship, he could have made a better choice.
Yeah, I would be mad if my man, and I'm busy at work, or we are mad at each other, and he's like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with my best girlfriend, and they end up sleeping night together, like sexually, but end up almost cuddling. Like, I would be pissed, like David was.
Yeah, I would be too. I mean, it's like, yeah, I think as soon as he walked in, I was like, this is going to end poorly. But it's also like, where did he come from? You came here.
Gabby called him because you saw how like she was like overhearing everything. And I feel like Gabby probably called her dad, like, Dad, I'm here with David and Mom. And you know how she kind of like insinuates things without saying stuff.
She also knows how to play her father like a
fiddle. Yes.
So there's that too. But no, I mean, it seems like David, we see his heart at the end too. Like, I feel like David just kind of moves however David feels like he needs to move, whatever works best for David. And I think
exactly, which is why he flies in on a surprise. I mean, I wish I just had jet money where I could just fly to different places, South Africa, to Ibiza, to London, to LA. Like,
the whole family moved to South Africa because I got a job there, and now we're all going to change our lives for me. I have so many thoughts about David.
So, in walks David. He sees them laid up, but he doesn't immediately trip. He's just like, hey, I'm here. What's going on? I got flowers for you. Mm-hmm. And then Charlie gets up and he gives them their space. And then we go into the scene where he's like, okay, before we get into that, he tries to say, oh, I missed you. And she's like, oh, I gotta go. I'm gonna go get freshened up. So it seemed some kind of way to him, like they could have been like messing around and she feels dirty or something like that. Versus her like, baby, I missed you. I'm so glad to see you, which is what you want, right? You want to spend time.
Say something like that, but she just was like feeling crappy and had to go get herself
right.
together.
No, we get it. She was somewhat hungover and breath probably was kicking, all of that. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to be kissing your man like that, but at the same time, it's like when you get what you want, like you're mad at him because he wasn't there. Now he's here. Don't give him the cold shoulder. Embrace him.
You can't just walk up like, oh, everything I did in the past does not matter. I'm here today.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying embrace it, because that's almost giving a negative reinforcement, because you want him there. Mm-hmm. So he's here. And then when he's here, you're giving him the cold shoulder versus like embracing him and then talking to him and saying, I wish you would do this more often. I wish I could see you more often.
I mean, she's probably tired of the pattern. She's probably tired of him doing what works best for David, despite the fact that he's a husband and a father. And at some point, it's like, you can't just breeze back in as if it never happened. Like, I mean, granted, at that point, she was in a daze and she probably was incoherent. But I also wanted to bring up just the fact that he didn't respond the way I thought he would have responded. And part of me wonders, so we heard in a previous episode them both talking about having cheated. So there's part of me that wonders what else David was up to while he was MIA. Because I think he should have responded stronger for a man to just walk in and see his wife laid up with his friend. I think he should have responded a lot stronger than that. So if there's a season
well, they weren't doing anything. I mean, technically.
But it looks suspect. Like, regardless, it looks crazy.
Yeah, like we said, it was inappropriate for them to even just be hanging like that. So yeah, I could see that. But one thing that you just brought up, what were you doing? And now, are you feeling guilty? Are you feeling threatened that you want to now remarry your wife? So he comes up with this new proposal and sets up shop, and she walks down the stairs with her t-shirt and jeans, and she's like, what's going happening? On? Like, you didn't even prepare me like for pictures or, to let me know I need to dress up. You didn't even ask me. You just, I mean, they're already married, so it's like, whatever. But she thinks that he's just trying to butter her up because he has some news to tell her. What do we think about that?
I mean, she wasn't wrong. So. I love that scene, though. I loved everybody's flaws just coming out. I think just the entire build up to that scene just throughout the season, I loved the way that it was executed.
She slapped the fire out of David.
And I'm not a fan of violence, but there was part of me that was, I felt for her.
I see where she's coming from, because you're accusing her of doing something that she didn't do. It's like, oh, you're going to accuse me? I should have did it then. I should have got the D.
Especially after having been MIA for X amount of time and having done whatever you wanted. I have so many thoughts about David. I'm just going to leave it at that.
But who else was feeling jealous? Miss Astrid. She was like, oh, you ditched me to go get high with her? Really? That's what we're doing? But it didn't stop her from giving Charlie what she promised, which was the career of his life, the one he's been building up and rebuilding up for. So he's still deciding if he's going to, and he takes the big gig, he goes, and then they have a moment, they kiss, and he's like, I want you. Was he in the moment making an emotional decision then as well? Because I feel like that. Because he wasn't all into her like, I want you, when she first approached him. But now it's like he's in the moment. He sees the crowd. He's doing it. He's feeling the adrenaline. Now he's like, yeah, I want you. I'm not buying it. It's almost like, when a guy first tells you he loves you after y'all, or during the act of sex, you know what I mean? It's like, do you really mean that? Or are you like feeling real good right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess time will tell. Time will tell. I don't know.
Hopefully we get to see in season 2. I'm going to vie for that season 2. What
Okay.
about you?
I don't know. I feel like Charlie definitely. I think he had to make that decision, and I think he did.
All right. That's your prediction? No season 2?
I mean, that's my. I think he's gonna just go up from here. He's gonna be this big DJ, and Gabby's gonna. I don't know. That's the question mark. Is what's gonna happen with Gabby.
All right. Well, I predict it's going to be a season 2. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and rocking with us. Make sure you leave a comment. Let us know what you think is going to happen. Let us know what you think is going to, if there's going to be a season 2. Leave us a comment. I'm your host, Miss Conversation Peace, and you can follow me on Instagram at MISS Conversation Peace, like the peace sign. I changed it, you guys, just due to the fact of so much violence and things going on. I just felt like I needed to be that person to speak for peace.
Amen. And I'm Princess Carroll. You guys can find me on Instagram at Princess Carroll TV.
All right, we'll be back until next time.
See you maybe season 2.
Maybe.
Bye, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.